Hey everyone, Simon back again for the Modern Awakened Perspective, your map for the path to enlightenment. And I've got a couple stories for you here today. The first one, it's pretty interesting with a little twist at the end, which I may make a whole separate video on. But this is about a woman who's been in the news constantly, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and her campaign manager, Saykat Chakrabarti. I've done a story on them in the past, but there's an interesting new update to this and how they could face some serious jail time. Before I get into the story, everyone please give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. That'll help people find this sort of content further down the road. Also, you see my sign, the Federal Reserve. A lot of you people watching may already be familiar with this. For those of you who don't know this yet, this is something to help you dive down the rabbit hole. The Federal Reserve is not federal. They're owned by one family. They have no reserves, and they're not a bank. So if that interests you, dig deeper into that. That'll wake you up a little bit. So let me get into this story about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, or the AOC celebrity, as she wants to be known as now. So AOC and campaign manager Saykat Chakrabarti could get serious jail time for over 20 counts of campaign finance violations they were recently implicated in. On Wednesday, a First Amendment watchdog group filed a complaint against AOC and her campaign manager. This complaint by the Coolidge-Reagan Foundation provides in-depth analysis on over 20 counts of campaign finance violations. The complaint states that Cortez and Chakrabarti engaged in a scheme to circumvent federal contribution limits and reporting requirements. Now, the scheme allowed AOC to gain an unfair advantage by illegally receiving excessive contributions and illegally subsidized campaign services. According to the complaint, these are some of the most egregious campaign finance violations ever recorded. The complaint asked the Federal Election Commission to hold them accountable, and if found guilty for these 20 plus counts, they could face some serious jail time, which I can say wouldn't break my heart. Now, to get a few little twists here at the end, during a remark at a dinner recently, President Trump called AOC a 29-year-old bartender whose Green New Deal was a terrible plan. I think he purposely wanted to talk about this because it's a very little known fact that AOC has no political background at all, and before being elected, she was actually working in a restaurant as a bartender. And the only reason she got into the position she's in because she answered a casting call. There's a group called Justice Democrats, and they put out a nationwide casting call to find faces they thought they could help get into office, and then they would be able to help push their agenda. Not only is AOC part of this group called Justice Democrats, we also have these other well-known radical leftists, Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, and Ayanna Pressley. A lot of these women you already know of. Ilhan Omar, I've done stories on. She's the woman who married her own brother just to get him into the country. That's immigration fraud. Rashida Tlaib, immediately after being sworn in, said, we're going to impeach the motherfucker, talking about Trump. And then Ayanna Pressley is the one, I believe, who tried to introduce the bills allowing 16-year-olds to vote. So you see what this group, Justice Democrats, was trying to initiate by bringing in these radicals. And the fact that they answered a casting call and then got elected shows just how crazy things can get in politics. So the comment section is open. If you guys agree or disagree with anything I say, please feel free to comment. But that's the story from my perspective. I'll see you guys on the next one.